Hello everyone. This lecture we're going to be focusing more thoroughly on our discovery search, but I am going to take us on a quick detour to our articles and databases page. So here you can decide to look through the databases depending on their subject by narrowing down what type they are. So if you're interested mainly in newspapers, you can click here. You can also choose ebooks and audiobooks. A lot of what we have is going to fall into the journals and abstracts category. You can look through the various vendors and providers that we have. A lot of these are essentially synonymous with the actual database themselves. You can search for ones if you have a particular database in mind, and you can also decide to look for the ones that, say, start with the letter N. Newsbank is going to be, for example, a good source of news if you're interested. Going back to all, we do have some of these that have a brief description under them, or they have the Show Me button that's going to give you a brief video tour of what that database is, how to navigate it, what you can find in there. We're going to be working on getting more and more of those in there as the semester and the rest of the year progresses, so please do keep an eye out for that. A few of these are going to be broader rather than more specifically tailored searches. So something like Academic Search Premier is going to give you that broad scope, while Agricola is going to have a very specific focus on agriculture. Scrolling down, EBSCOhost is going to be another that has that broader scope to it. Gale as well, JSTOR, let's see, Primary Search. So if you need to get the broadest view essentially of a topic possible, those are going to be some of the best ones to look through. All right, but returning to our discovery search, if you click on that, so normally it is going to ask you to log in with your library card. It might also ask for your PIN if it disputes that for some reason, but go ahead and enter that and it should take you here. I logged in earlier, so it took me directly to our discovery search. You can choose to search by keyword. You can also choose by title or author. And I'm still looking at mermaid. Let's see. Let's try the entire phrase to start off with. Mermaid representations in art. And we are going to search for that. Lovely. So this is going to be bringing up essentially everything that was already in the catalog search that we were looking at in the last lecture, but it's also going to include everything that we have access through through our databases, but also through our interlibrary loan. Don't quote me on the databases, actually. This is going to pick up a lot of things that we have in our database. It might not pick up everything. So going through here, we have video through Canopy. We have Melusine and the Starbucks Siren, Art, Mermaids, and the Tangled Origins of the Coffee Chain logo. That, I can see that feasibly falling in line with what I'm looking for. So I'm going to open that in a new tab to keep looking. And you can also see that they have these icons next to the source. So this is going to be a video recording. This is going to be an academic journal. For what I'm interested in, the academic journals are probably the best place for me to be searching. And if you look at the menu over here, you can determine what source type that you're interested in looking at. So if I wanted to, I can limit this to academic journals. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Lovely. And scrolling back up, you still have the Starbucks Siren. You have Black Aesthetics in Deep Water, Fish People, Mermaid Art, and Slave Memory in South Africa. That could also be very useful for what I'm looking for. All right. Looking around at the options again, you have the Refine Results menu over here, and you can hide that if you want to. You can open it up again. Right now, it's telling me what I'm looking for in this linked series of words here, and it's automatically including the expanders where it's searching the full text of the article and it is also applying equivalent subjects. So if I wanted to, I can X out both of those. It's still coming up with the ones that I was interested in. And it's still pulling up what I'm interested in because art and mermaids or mermaid are in the phrase that I put up here. So it's pulling that from the title. But notice that we have gone down to 87 results when initially with both of those expanders in place, we were, where were we? At 4,449. And we also have that I am limiting to academic journals. So if I take that off, we are at 53,726. So in something like this that has such a huge amount of materials that it can search for, you definitely want to be strategically deciding how to limit what you're looking at. So you can also determine the relevance of something, or if you want to make sure that you're getting the newest things first, you can decide that. If you're looking for older sources, you can do that as well. Let's see, if you want to play around with the format of the page, you can do that here. And if you wanted to share stuff, you can create a folder and you can share that folder. You can also send an email alert. You can also just copy the link there. Let's see. Something that I find really useful in this is the limit to full text. A lot of what we have here is going to be an abstract, or it's going to be a description of what's available, but it's not necessarily going to be the material itself. So if you really want to go in and you want to look at the actual article, or if you want to read the actual book, for example, limiting to full text is going to be the way to make sure that those are coming up. For this class, because of what the final assignments are, you may not need to go deeper than an abstract, but for a lot of the stuff that you're going to be researching for your other classes, currently or in the future, this can be very useful to make sure that you actually have immediate access to materials. If you find something and it's only an abstract and you're still very interested in getting it, we can get you an interlibrary loan. So reach out to me and I will put you in contact with Katrina, or reach out directly to Katrina and she can get an interlibrary loan set up for you. Never fear that if you find something and you can't get it, that we won't do our best to get it in your hands. All right. Similarly, the catalog only, that's not necessarily going to limit to what's immediately available to you, but it's going to limit to the things that are available in the Alaska Library Consortium. And you can also limit to peer-reviewed materials, which can be very useful in establishing the authority of a piece. We will get to that in future lectures. You're also able to change the date. So if I want things only available since the beginning, more or less, of the millennium, we can do that. Still getting a lot of what we were getting earlier. We do have a Japanese entry here. If I wanted to exclude that, which I don't necessarily want to, I can select only English materials. Let's see, subject. So this is going to be another case of choosing. I would essentially prefer nonfiction over fiction, or let's get in there. Gender is coming up a lot. That might be something that would be useful. Children's literature, I can see including that for my search because artistic representation in children's literature could be a very useful part of my research, but that might also be just more of that one mermaid book that was showing up so much in the last search, so I could see not necessarily wanting to include that. One of the things that the catalog search offers that the discovery search here doesn't offer is the ability to exclude from the menu over here. But you can also choose the publisher, the publication, language, like we noted earlier, geography. So if you specifically wanted to see stuff that was pertinent or published in the United Kingdom, you can select that. Here's the library location. Electronic resources, interesting. I believe that depending on the search and your pre-existing search parameters, so let's see. You can get actual library locations like Tuzzy under this one. Collections. If you're looking for materials from a specific university, for example, this could be a good place to get it. And these are some of those databases that we were talking about earlier, and you can find more from there. So we're also finding some French materials, and based off the collections that I'm seeing here, it looks like there is a lot of French stuff. So I might actually go ahead and limit to English. Ooh. Mermaid place names in Australia and related visual representations. That could also be very useful to me. So now we're starting to see a lot of things related to art and representation. Oh, but you do have a Little Mermaid looks like me. That's maybe slightly out of scope for what I'm looking for, but mermaids as representation. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us into the advanced search because I have an idea of what I want to continue looking for, and I want to hone in on that. And this is where we're going to get into stuff related to truncation and Boolean operators. So if you go down here, you see search modes and you have Boolean/phrase. Boolean is in this drop-down menu and it refers to and, or, and not. So right now we have this phrase. So I am definitely looking for mermaids, and I want to see mermaids as they are portrayed in art. So I'm going to keep the and there. This means that all of the searches that are going to come up from this must have both of those words, either in the title or in the description or elsewhere in the record. But I remember when we were looking through the catalog search that stuff related to arts and crafts were coming up, and that is not what I'm interested in. So I am going to put craft there because I want to make sure that I'm excluding anything related to arts and crafts while still including art. And what I'm also going to do in here is I'm going to put the dollar, whoops. You can see that there's a drop-down menu of suggested searches from this, but I'm going to put the dollar sign in after mermaid and after art. Nope. Sorry about that. And after craft. What this dollar sign does, as well as what this asterisk does, is it truncates the search term. And what that actually means is that if I'm looking for mermaid, dang it, if I'm looking for mermaid, if I'm looking for mermaids, then it is going to give me both of those because it recognizes from the truncation symbol that I'm interested in anything that has that word as the base, essentially. So mermaid, mermaids. If I wanted to include mermen and merman, I can dial it back a little and just have merm. I am concerned based on what's coming up that it's going to start giving me things related more to memory, but this is going to be a way to get as inclusive a search as possible, and we can always make it more specific as we go on. Same with art. This is going to include art, arts, artistic, artists, artistry, as well as all of those essentially. And then craft, with that truncation, it's also going to include crafts. Handicrafts is probably also going to be included in that. And when I say included, I do mean excluded because we're using the not here. So let's try this out. Let's search. And we're showing the French stuff again because this is starting a new search essentially, and it has gotten rid of my English only parameter. And okay, what you're seeing, or rather what I'm seeing, is that we are getting still a lot of stuff related to art, but we aren't getting that mermaid. That's unfortunate. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to include the mermaid, the full word with that truncation. And there's that book that I was looking for in the previous lecture. That's lovely. Going to put that aside again because it could be very useful. This one was also showing up initially in the catalog search, and I'm still debating on how useful it can be. It's mainly that folklore, mermaids, and mermaids in art subject that I'm interested in. There's that canopy video, and now we're starting to get back into the juvenile fiction materials, or at least Yeah, juvenile fiction. Okay. Mermaid Cove, oracles, and mermaid art. This looks more like it's the art and not necessarily an analysis of it, but there's that Starbucks siren again. Because of that word siren, I am going to show you another Boolean operator. So let's go back to the advanced search. And I'm going to take both of those out. So we've covered and, we've covered not. Now we're going to choose or. And what that means is that when I put in siren here, and I'm using siren essentially as a synonym for mermaid, then I am open to searches that include mermaid, or that include, sorry, that should be a $, or that include siren, and that include art. So that's going to give me the search results that include mermaid art. It's going to give me the search results that include siren and art. If there's any overlap where mermaid and siren and art all appear in a single source, that's going to show up there as well. Let's see what we get. 3G detectors. Interesting. That is not necessarily what I'm interested in, but there's that Starbucks siren as it should be showing up. Mermaid. There's the Axel Mueller title that I keep on going for. Again, the juvenile fiction. Trying to research mermaids, the Canopy video, Starbucks again. There's that crafts. Because I chose to not include the not craft Boolean operator, or the not Boolean operator with craft, that's showing up again. Okay, this could be a very specific example of what I'm looking for, where they're doing a deep dive into how mermaids are portrayed in H.G. Wells's The Sea Lady. That could be useful. Mermaid Handbook, and that's another one that we've already picked up on. I'm just going through the first pages of all of these because I don't want this video to get too long again, but I do encourage you to continue going through the pages and picking out what's of interest to you. I am going to go to the advanced search one more time before I finish this up. Okay, and show you that you have some of these other options available to you when you go into the advanced search. Right now we're still in the Boolean phase. It is automatically going to be on the find all my search terms, like when we first came into the discovery search. Find any of my search terms. That is essentially applying the or Boolean operator to all of the things that you're looking at. Smart text searching, that could be helpful if you need a spark to help you with what you're searching for. You can apply related words, you can not apply related words. I would recommend searching through the full text of the articles because that's going to give you the broadest search possible, but if you're getting too much, you could turn this off. Likewise with apply equivalent subjects. There's that full text limiter again, if you want only that, and here's a list of the various libraries, and where's Tuzzy? There's Tuzzy. Lovely. Catalog only, you can essentially make this a catalog search if you're interested. You have, let's see, all of these things I believe were touched on when you look in the side menu, the refine results menu. Is there anything else that we need to cover here? So this is going to look remarkably similar to the EBSCOhost webpage when we get to that next week. One of the things I will point out is that you're going to have this Ilisagavik logo to the side when you're in the discovery search, while you're going to have the EBSCOhost, one of their logos, when you're looking through that. So that can be one way to help you differentiate if you have multiple pages open. Okay. Possibly here, but also within the EBSCOhost, you might be prompted to sign in. Don't use your credentials for that. Instead, sign in through your institute, and instead of searching for Tuzzy, you can either search Alaska or you can go directly to University of Alaska Anchorage, and we tend to piggyback off of their subscription with that. Okay, let me double check that I've covered everything. I think that we're good so far. And I am going to pull up this PowerPoint slide and show you your to-do list. I will say that the research process requires a lot of personal experience and a lot of trial and error before you can really get comfortable with it, and that's going to apply essentially any time that you do research, which you may already be familiar with. If you have any questions about the things that I chose to pursue or the things that I chose to limit, please feel free to reach out at any point. I'm very happy to give guidance to you and your specific topic and research questions, so please do reach out through phone, email, coming to office hours. Let's see. I am very much a there are no stupid questions so long as they're asked with a genuine intent to learn kind of person. Frankly, I think most librarians should be that kind of person. A lot of the reasons that I provided during this search for why I pursued this article instead of that, we're going to get into when we get into future week's contents on how to evaluate your sources as you're going through the research process. But for now, I just want you to focus on building the practical skills of narrowing down or broadening your specific research topics. So let's see, your to-do list. After you've watched these lectures, which at this point you've done, please go ahead and read the required materials. There should only be a few this week. I tried to keep it a lighter load, especially because these lectures did get a bit longer than I wanted them to. You are going to have assignment 2 due this Sunday, March 3rd by 11:59 p.m. And I'm going to take you to that assignment now. A lot of it is going to be focused on our catalog search, answering all of these questions. But there's going to be a blank page in there, and then there's going to be another worksheet. And this is going to deal more with what I was talking about in regards to Boolean operators in this lecture. All right. Let's see. I still need to determine when exactly we can have office hours this week. They're still tentatively set for this Thursday, 1 to 3. I will be emailing soon if that changes. And there's the supplementary materials. I think at this point we only have that sorting game related to the Library of Congress. All right, but yes, once more, please feel free to reach out at any time if you have questions or if you're having any issues accessing the content or if you are just curious about something. And if these office hours don't work or if the revised office hours don't work, I'm always happy to set up a one-on-one session. Okay, thank you all very much. Bye.